Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to day 17 of 21 days to 2021. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas and spent some quality time with your family and had a really meaningful and amazing Christmas holiday. And so today we're going to talk about something that's really your number one most important asset, which is your time, right? And when it comes to time, my mentors taught me, they said, you know, Tommy, rich people have just about 24 hours in a day. And average people have about 24 hours in a day. And poor people have just about 24 hours in a day. And that's what really got me mad, because at the time I was working really hard, over 70 hours a week, and just barely making it by. And I saw people that were hanging out on this beach right behind me, and their biggest problem of the day was where to eat lunch and what country they were going to go to next. And so growing up in Hawaii, and I wish I had a better scenery, guys. I lost the sun. It's a really rainy day today, and if you could see Waikiki Beach behind me, man, I just wish that all of you guys were here, especially if you're in a cold environment. But you know, when it comes to time, guys, we really have to start looking at our time, our most precious and valuable asset, in the right way. You know, my mentors have taught me, hey, you know what? Time is money. Money is time, and if you waste my time, you're wasting my money. And you know, God never intended us to have a life that we're working over 40 hours plus hours a week, building somebody else's company for 40 plus years to retire on maybe 40% of what they were paying us, you know? And from a very young age, you know, we were taught, we were conditioned to be the perfect employees, right? I'm sure some of you guys got told this, you know, hey, you got to go to school and you got to get good grades, and you got to get good grades, Tommy, so you can get into a good college. And I got taught you got to get into a good college so you can get a good degree, and then get a really good paying job and start off at the bottom of the company and work your way to the top. How many of you guys got sold on that lie? I mean, plan, right? And that was literally physically beaten into me with a stick. And so when it comes to a job, okay, or a good job, which by the way is an oxymoron, you know, there's a lot of these acronyms that we don't even understand. You know what acronym of job means? It means just over broke, right? And there's a lot of these acronyms we use on a daily basis. We have no idea what it means. When you go to a restaurant and you leave a tip, or what's called TIPS, tips, it's to ensure proper service, or to ensure prompt service, right? What is RSVP? We RSVP to the graduation party. We RSVP to the wedding. It means respondez s'il vous plaît. What the heck does that mean, guys? In fact, another kind of cool tidbit of information. You know, policemen, a lot of times we nickname them cops or cop. Well, what does that mean? Well, cop was short for copper, which way back in the day was a derogatory term to call a police officer. So copper meant a penny, like you're worthless. You're a copper. And you remember those gangster movies, eat lead, copper, right? But today we call everybody cops, right? That are policemen, right? Which is kind of a cool thing. So don't, you know, be upset when you hear something like JOB means just over broke, or just want to be on break. Okay, it was designed that way, guys. Okay, and how did they trick us? How did they condition us? When I heard this story at age 17 years old, it blew my mind. It's called The Bell Runs Your Life. See, from a very young age, I don't know how many of you guys can remember kindergarten or even preschool, walking into your classroom and you're holding mommy or daddy's hand, and on one hand you had your parent, on the other hand maybe you had a sack lunch with a peanut butter jelly sandwich, or a My Little Pony lunchbox, or Transformers, or G.I. Joe or something. Did you stop right there at the threshold of the classroom and look up and said, Mom, Dad, I thought about it and I don't think education is the key to success? Probably not. You just went, right? And what happened? Mom and Dad said, you better listen to Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, do exactly what the teacher is going to tell you to do. And at 8 o'clock, the bell rang, signifying it's time to start school. And the teacher came out and said, this is the color red and this is the color blue, and 1 + 1 = 2, and you're taught math, science, English, history, right? And all these things. And at 10 o'clock, what happened? The bell rang, and it's time to run out for recess, and you had 20 minutes to have your juice. I don't know if you guys went to public school like me. We were lucky if we had cinnamon toast. Remember those days? And then you came back into the classroom and teachers telling you what to study, what to learn, what to read. And at 12 o'clock, the bell rang and it was signifying it's time for lunch. And you have exactly 45 minutes to eat your lunch and get back into the classroom. Don't question the teacher. Nap time. And at 2:15, the bell rang and it's time to send you home. And after going this day after day after day, 8 o'clock bell rings, 10 o'clock recess, 12 o'clock lunch, don't question the teacher, right? How did you get rewarded? You got a report card and you got A, B, C, D, F, right? And after kindergarten, did you stop and turn to mom and dad and say, hey mom, dad, woo, kindergarten was nuts, I'm done? No. You went to first grade. Same thing. 8 o'clock bell rings, 10 o'clock recess, 12 o'clock lunch. Don't question the teacher. Learn your math, learn your English, learn your science, right? And you do this first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, your entire life, your entire childhood. And nothing changes very much in high school. Same thing. 8 o'clock bell rings, 10 o'clock recess, 12 o'clock lunch. Don't question the teacher. Learn the same subjects. And what happens after high school? Some of us go on to college. Except now you don't have a teacher, you have a professor. Now you're not necessarily going after grades, you're going after credits. And 8 o'clock, I used to show up at University of Hawaii. 10 o'clock, I was at Campus Center. 12 o'clock, eating chalupas at Taco Bell on campus. And of course, we're trying to get our degree, piece of paper. It tells you how well you're doing. So don't be surprised that right after college, a lot of us, not all of us, about 95% of us go out there, embellish on a resume, go buy some nice clothes and go in for the interview and embellish on it and impress them and kiss a little butt, and you get hired by Microsoft or Costco or Home Depot or what have you. And 8 o'clock we show up, what happens? Instead of a bell ring, we're punching in. 10 o'clock, smoke break. 12 o'clock, lunch. You have exactly 45 minutes, Tommy, to get your butt back into this office and this cubicle and start working away. Except now you don't have a teacher, now you have a boss. And we're taught not to question the boss. And the boss will tell you when you gotta wake up, when you can see your family. Boss will even tell you how many days a week, a year, or days a year that you can be sick. You have exactly 11 sick days. I'm like, how the heck do you know that? Right? Especially if COVID hits. So I'm just telling you guys, we have been conditioned, okay? Except now you don't have a report card, you have a paycheck. And your paycheck is gonna tell you how you're doing in life. It's your report card in life. How much is your time worth, okay? And so we already talked about increasing the value of your time on day 3, if you've been watching all of my videos, 21 days to 2021. But, you know, I'm not knocking the education system. You can't be a dumbass going out throughout life. You need to learn how to read and write and do all of these things. I'm not knocking having a job, guys. What I'm trying to share with you and to get you excited about or encourage you is to constantly look for and identify ways to get out of that, what we call the rat race, okay? And we all know that job security is a joke, and with COVID-19 that exposed a lot of that, right? People that thought they had the most solid JOBs and they were set for life and they were ready to ride off into the sunset are finding out that they're in a whole another situation right now. So Robert Kiyosaki has a game called, gosh, I forget what it's called, Cash Flow Quadrant, okay, which actually educates you on financial education, but it constantly talks about getting out of the rat race, and I highly recommend reading that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Financial IQ, or Cash Flow Quadrant, or anything by Robert Kiyosaki. They're just absolutely amazing, amazing things. So let's get back to time. When it comes to time, it's one of the few things that we all have 24 hours a day, okay? And a lot of people say, but Tommy, I don't have any time to go out and look for a plan B. I don't have time to go create residual income. I don't have time to open a business. Well, let's discuss that. Now, I'm just gonna talk about a generic breakdown of your day or your week, okay? And it's gonna vary. Some people work extra, 2 jobs. Some people have kids. Some people have different responsibilities. But we all start off the week with 168 hours. Now, let's say you sleep 7 hours. Okay, that's minus 49 hours a week. Let's say it takes 2 hours for you to groom yourself, take a shower, shave your face, shave your legs, put on makeup, what have you, right? Okay, 2 hours a day doing that. 2 hours a day eating. I think that's kind of generous. We don't spend 2 hours literally shoveling food into our mouth. Some of you guys are enjoying it a little more. 2 hours on your commute to and from work, give or take, okay? 1 hour exercising. I know a lot of you guys don't even exercise at all, okay? Now, let's take away another 10 hours for miscellaneous, maybe spending some time playing some games with your kids or whatever, having some family time. Guys, even if you subtract all of those things out of your life, you're still left with another 20 hours remaining. Now ask yourself, is those 20 hours of your week, every single week, productive or unproductive? And if you be honest with yourself, if you really start tracking your most precious asset, which is your time, I promise you guys you're gonna find some of those things. See, on my team and in my experience in the last 26 years of being in this industry, really I've worked with people who are single parents. I've worked with people who had handicaps or even severe handicaps, way worse than me. I've heard stories about people that had multiple jobs in our teams in Korea and in Japan, and as well as US and Canada. Okay, multiple jobs, are business owners, and they still find the time. Guys, when I started learning about this stuff, honestly, I was working over 70 hours a week. I was $9,000 in debt. I was so broke, if somebody were to come up and rob me, it would have been just practice. And I didn't have any time. I worked 7 days a week, woke up at 4:30 in the morning. And I got this same rundown and breakdown as you did. And I didn't have much time, so I focused. And I put 70 hours on top of my 70, and my 7 got rid of my 70. And I haven't had a job ever since. I haven't had a job this century. So if you ask me, is this stuff relevant? Is it important? Does it work? I'm living proof of that. Hey, you can get your 24 hours in a day back. You can get your time back if you wish to, okay? Some people will respond back and say, well, Tommy, you know what? If I was consistently making 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 grand a month residual income, you bet your ass I would wake up early. You bet your ass I would give up my weekends. I would give up some hobbies. I would start studying, learning, and practicing. Yeah, you would. But you know what, guys? It never worked out in the world that way. That's like saying, hey, give me the high-paying salary, and then I'm going to go to school, then I'm going to buy the books, then I'm going to study hard if you give me the high-paying salary first. You know what? I want the buff body first, then I'm going to pay the gym membership, then I'm going to go buy all of the supplements, then I'm going to go buy some Lululemon yoga pants and start working out. Yeah, right, guys. The only time that success comes before work is in the dictionary. You've got to pay to play. And you've got to have the attitude that if I want my time back, I want my 24 hours back, then I'm going to break down my week and I'm going to find those hours. Now, it might be 7 like me, or it might be 20. I'm willing to bet during nowadays you have a little bit more than that, and start applying it every little bit of every single day with intent and focus, a plan B, a vehicle that you can get your time back. So what my mentors taught me, they said, Tommy, the only way to turn your weekdays into weekends is start treating your weekends like they're weekdays. A lot of people, they're not willing to make that sacrifice. They're not willing to have that delayed gratification. Maybe they failed more than once in their life before. But the reality is, guys, you just got to make it once. You can try 100,000 times to earn a living. All you're ever going to do is earn a living. Most people are doing that. You probably wouldn't be watching this video if it wasn't for that. But when it comes to making a fortune, you may fail, skid on your face more than once over. How many times do you got to make it? Just once. If you get to that point where you have 24 hours a day, 6 Saturdays and 1 Sunday, waking up when you're done sleeping, what would that be worth to you? What would you sacrifice to have that? More time with your family, more time to travel. Do whatever you want with whoever you want. I promise you guys, it's worth it. I've been living that way this entire century. Nobody tells me where I gotta be and what I'm gonna do and who I'm gonna hang out with. And you know what? I'm only on this way as far as to my journey, but at least if you get to that first level where you own your time, I promise you guys, you wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. You know, a lot of people don't fight hard for their freedom because they just don't know they're trapped. And that's the reality. A lot of times we don't think we're trapped. We don't think that our freedom was taken away, but it is. Because if you really wanted to, go take the next 30 days off and go do whatever you wanted to because something important came up to you or fun, But what if it was an emergency, or somebody got sick or injured in your family? What if somebody you love just had a stroke, or they went down? Do you have the time freedom right now to go and take care of them? So I promise you guys, you have to foresee that one day you're gonna realize it now or later. You can change now and be grateful for it and be thankful later. Or you can wait till later, and then you gotta change, and it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck hard, because if you're easy on yourself, life is gonna become hard. But if you learn to be hard on yourself now, life will eventually become easy. So I hope this message hit you. I promised you guys yesterday and Christmas that we're gonna bump it up a couple of notches. If I offended anybody out there, that was totally the intention, because that's what my coaches did to me. And so you guys get no better treatment, guys, if you're tuning into this. Just be coachable, have an open mind, and say, you know what, I can, and I deserve, and if I could, and I should, I will. And we're gonna go out there in 2021 and find a vehicle between now and the beginning of the year, or in the very first few weeks of the year, and find something for you that can bring your time back. And we're gonna change, and we're gonna go out there and make it happen for you and your family. And we're gonna talk about goal setting. We're gonna talk about networking. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of things, a call to action and follow through and persistence, all before the end of the year. It's gonna be amazing. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for sharing this with people that you care about. And most of all, I thank you for your time, because we can't replace it. Take care, be safe, and aloha!